Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everybody. I hope you are having a fabulous Monday. This is our Mo Better Mondays day. Sorry about the light. Um, I'm trying to work that light out. But you know what? It doesn't matter, man. As long as you guys can see and hear me and I can respond to you, I feel like this we're all in a good place. That's number one. Number two is thank you for some of the kind comments we had from yesterday's show. A lot of what we've been talking about lately has so much to do with trying to find a different pathway. When I say trying to find a different pathway, I'm saying literally it's like, listen, let's stop talking about what we're going to do tomorrow. We're doing that already. But I'm talking about 2, 3 years down the road. What do things look like? You know, a lot of people are saying that Trump won't win, and that's not the point. The point is, what is the country going to look like once he's gone? Whether he's gone next month or whether he's gone 4 years and next month from there. It's like, what is the power, if you will, or what's the force of will of the people? Is what I've been really focusing on. So let me give some shout outs. We have some people, our subscriber base is growing. I think we have 116. We're trying to get to 117. Like I say, my mother always say, what she say, a cinch and an inch takes a mile for a while. I feel that way about a lot of things. But while we're doing, let me give out some of my shout outs. Show regulars that come. I'm going to give you a shout out just a moment. For the new people, just fall in line. You know what the comment section is. If you want a shout out, get in the comment section. I will give you a shout out. There's no one here on this show who does not receive a shout out from me when they come on the show. I'm going to tell you why. There's a story a friend of mine tells. His name is Dobie Maxwell. Dobie Maxwell is from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And Dobie tells this story of going to see the Philadelphia 76ers one time. And he had somebody that took him backstage, and he meets Dr. J. He meets Dr. J. And, he said back to J, it was a shock to him to meet Dr. J because it turned out Dr. J was a chain smoker. We won't go there. But he sees Dr. J, and he's starstruck. And Dr. J takes this time to talk to him, ask him about school, what's he want to do with his life, what is his aspiration. Now, of course, this is a young kid. You can just imagine what the impression that was made on this young man. And I'm saying to myself, in some regards, we have to get back to making impressions on one another that have meaning and have balance. And I'm saying meaning and balance because I'm not talking about the impression you make on that person for the next 5 minutes, but 2, 3, 4 years. Meaning that they may not even meet you, but that interchange, if you will, that exchange of ideas, pleasantry, compassion, mercy, where you got in a space and figured out something about yourself, or figured out something about the world, and you shared it. I mean, that's kind of where we are right now. So let me give a shout out real quick. Ree, that's right. My mom had a birthday. Satana, there you go. She's a consultant producer on the show. Miss Santiago, we hope that you were feeling well. I know you have some back problems, and hope things get boy. I will get back to you. I've been in a total crunch doing these ads. Sister Rabina, always with that, like the old folks say, I always got that water for you, that information. Things that make you go, as Arsenio Howell used to say, things that make you go, Well, there are a lot of things that make me go, right now. All the way from Toronto. My man Altaf Rashid, I think the Jays are in. They're in the playoffs. I believe, if I read that correct, I believe they're in the playoffs. So congratulations to your team. Let's talk about Mo Better Mondays, and I'm gonna tell you what Mo Better Mondays means. Monday is a day that everybody dreads. I think comedian Russell Peters made a joke about Mondays and black people, but he was saying, nobody likes Mondays. Kind of race and whatever. But it's interesting the scope of how important a Monday is in terms of resetting the week. And when I say Mo Better Mondays, I mean it that it's a bridge to get you to the rest of the week. The rest of the week is not so much about Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but it's establishing what looks like a plateau to you. What are visible wins in your life? I talk about visible wins in business when I talk to people, and they go, "What is a visible win?" I said, "You know what? Sometimes it's not so much I was successful, but I gave the people around me, or I tried to engage the people around me that it was the small things that allow us to be successful." It's if you've ever taught children, I'm sure many of you have. One of the things about teaching children anything, like in education, teaching a child to read is not teaching a child to read a book. It's teaching a child to recognize symbols, intonation, and develop meaning with the materials. Let me say that. Symbols, intonation, and making meaningful relationships with the material. We've gotten away from that in some regards. We have these weird affinities for things that aren't healthy, weird affinities for things that won't do us any good, weird affinities that we know are false, weird affinities that we know are dangerous, weird affinities that we know hurt other people. And here we are talking about these things. I can't say how many times my phone is blown up, people talking about Donald Trump and coronavirus and super sweater, super spreader, and things like that. My response is none of us should ever be surprised by someone who's shown you that they're very, very selfish. And when I say selfish, there's a place for being selfish. You need positive self-interest. When you need time away from, family or whatever to go do your thing, clear your head, I would encourage you to do that, right? That makes sense. But oftentimes, people are very, very consumed with this whole idea of exactly how is it I can spend your time on my behalf. Let me say it again. Spending time on your behalf, spending your time. And I think one of the things that's really, really beginning to bug me as of late is actually a program now. People are indeed, for lack of a better word, trying to engage. Oh, sorry about that, people. Your phones are not corrected, whatever. I'm not going to worry about that. So please forgive me for that. But my point I was trying to make is where are us as a group, us as a community, us as logical people beginning to develop positive self-interest? Because my worry, and it's been brought to me, and I'm sure you've probably heard it before, is just the amount of energy we're having to spend dealing with negative things that don't really even have anything to do with us. The negative actions, negative activities, negative events in search of, for lack of a better word, participation. Where is it that you cut off your participation for people that don't mean you any good? It's almost like we've forgotten who Satan is. When I say forgotten who Satan is, one of the best, if you will, one of the best quotes I ever heard about Satan is that he'll offer you everything and give you nothing. Satan offers you everything and gives you nothing. Now, the cold part about it is, and this is why I'm not saying I respect Satan, but I understand his hustle. All he's doing is suggesting, which speaks to the fact that he knows something that's in us, if you will. He knows something in us that's weak, something that can be compromised. Now, everybody on this show, everybody knows what your Achilles heel is in your life. The consumption of thyself. Yes. It sounds like a book. I'm going to check that out. But everybody here knows what your Achilles heel is. Like in health, we know what our Achilles heel is. Like if you're a runner or you do some type of physical exercise, brothers and sisters, you know that you're good. Say if you're a runner, you're good for 4 miles. If somebody comes to you and go, you know what? How many miles do you do? You say, I do 4. He said, today we're going to do 8. Somebody you've acclimated to, I'm going to do 8 miles. To the point that even if you did 7.5, 8, your body is going to respond to it a different way. What we have now is people who know thresholds, people who know how far I could push a person. They know how far I could push a person, manipulate a person, get them to the point where I can't hurt them, but they can hurt themselves. The idea of Mo Butter Mondays is I really want to reframe Monday, for lack of a better word, in terms of whatever you've been through the cycle of a week. Because the cycle of a week, of course, is Monday through Sunday. Monday actually begins the beginning of the week. And I implore people to start on Mondays, if you will, particularly in this election period. Start having conversations with people on Monday. Start having conversations with people on Monday. Find out how their Sunday went. Find out how their Saturday went. Because you're going to get a very robust acclimation. I want to say accumulation of information. Like, I understand now why at the end of the day, and this is probably happening to most of you, at the end of the day, because we didn't work as children, we went to school. It was important for our parents to know what we did in the process of a day. Let me say that. It was important. Let me say it again. It was important that our parents knew what we did in the process of a day. Now, I have a lot of theories about this, but one of my favorite theories is the fact that parents understood engagement with their children according to other adults. With their children accordingly with other adults, with a teacher, with a babysitter. And it had so much to do about the welfare of the child. Because at a certain point in time, the time you spend, your face time you spend with your parents becomes less and less as you go up the educational ladder, right? First grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, it starts changing a little bit. Maybe fourth grade, it changes a little bit, but when you get to junior high school, it's pretty much on autopilot. You see your mom, you see your dad when you come home. And it was interesting because I had this, I want to say, presented to me by a very, very good brother. What he was saying is that parents know when they're losing their children. He said, now there's good losing and there's a bad losing. He said, but the good losing is you're becoming independent, but you're becoming independent with a balanced palate. The bad losing is that you don't have a foundation. There's not a verifiable foundation there. And as you progress and go up, you know how it is. If you go up here and the foundation is not real, the house will crumble. So I'm in a couple of previous shows, I talked about the importance of building foundations, the importance of associating with builders, learning from other builders. It's something that's sustainable, if you will. There was a good talk with Chris Rock on a show called The Breakfast Club. And he was talking about COVID. Now listen to this. Hold on, give a shout out. Walaikum assalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Brother Z. How are you? All the way from Toledo, my main man. But listen to this analogy that Chris Rock gave about COVID. And I want you to apply it. Now, I'm not saying, it has to be applicable to your life. You can look at current events and understand what I'm about to say. When asked about COVID, Chris Rock said it's almost a cautionary tale of like the three little pigs. And the host said, what do you mean? He said, well, it's about how your house is built. How your house is built, right? Remember the three little pigs. One's house was big with sticks, one was built with straw, and the other one that's withstood the wind of the wolf was what? Stone, brick. He said a lot of people during COVID are finding out that their house is made of sticks and straws. Now, some of you heard me say this before, but let me add this caveat. The same thing is happening to our faith, our spirituality. Many of us are figuring out that our faith and our spirituality, in some regards, is not built of stone. It's built of straw and sticks, which is fine. But if you are in your mind thinking it's made of stone, there's a problem. That's a very, very dangerous problem because the tangible aspects of it is you will present that to somebody and someone will buy into that. You will present this idea of faith and you will buy into it. And you will bring people along with you under a false premise that you got it all together. You don't have it all together. Your house is made of sticks and stones. It's not made of Or it's made of sticks and straw. It's not made of stone. And I have to say that also, not just about spirituality, what about character? If you're going to hear anything from me, brothers and sisters, you're going to always hear from me that character counts. Character counts. How you make people feel on the front end of an experience is how they should feel on the back end of an experience. If it starts out great, it should end close to great, if not better. Now, the theme, of course, like I said, brothers and sisters, was this one. It's a Mo Better Monday. We had Mo Better Mondays before. I played the music. But the idea about Mo Better is that we have to insist upon ourselves that we look at life wherever it is and demand and discipline ourselves that we deserve a healing. That in some regards we deserve to invest in ourselves and be the best that we could be. Now I'm saying this because it sounds so ridiculous, but it's not. This is an idea that gets overlooked over and over and over again. People don't talk to their best selves inside themselves. They don't talk to their best selves. When I meet people sometimes, they impress upon me that they're sorry, that they're not giving me their best self. And I have to respond, you shouldn't be apologizing to me, you should be apologizing to you. If you know that you're not bringing about the best you that you can. And what's happening is a marketplace now for when you don't have high character. You don't know how to bring out the best you. You don't know how to look at things from a spiritual texture and say, this is what I need to do, or religious texture to be even more blunt, to be even more direct, a religious texture. And as a result, we find this weird narcissistic cloud that covers everything in our lives now. Everything in our lives. And it takes so much intelligence, takes so much spirituality to be able to move those clouds out of the way or rearrange them in some regards, because the clouds don't go away. They rearrange them. And we find ourselves in a situation now whereby other people's character, when it's not good, it affects us. Now, some of you think I'm talking about Trump. No, that's symptomatic. I'm talking about something that happened way before then. I've seen it happen in our religious communities, our Christian communities, our Muslim communities, our Jewish communities, whereby the pervasiveness of selfishness has led to, I want to say, verifiable loss of confidence, loss of trust, loss of hope. And we have such generations behind us, and we've left this very, very ragged tradition in some regards. Yes, that's very accurate. Our house is Victorian, solid to the core, and that's what we need. That's what we have to be as people. Yeah, yeah. There's a term, if you will. There's a term we came up with in my age group, 20s, 30s. Back, I'm not 20, 30 now. I'm saying, but back in my 20s, 30s, they used to say, "Oh man, you trying to be hard? But you trying to be hard? Huh? You trying to be hard?" And what they were saying was, you trying to be aggressive, you trying to be that. That was like a prelude to a fight or something like that. Well, you think you're all hard. And what it was, ladies and gentlemen, was this terminology of misaligned manhood. So the whole idea of trying to be hard, misaligned manhood. There are probably so many young brothers that went to jail trying to prove that they were hard. Because hard was tied into different things that weren't healthy. It was tied into crime. It was tied into poor education. It was tied into babies being born out of wedlock. It was tied into poor jobs. It was tied into incarceration. It was tied into the philosophy that these young men would not be around long enough or in a meaningful capacity to take care of their elders. That's being hard. And where does it come from, though? It comes from this weird relationship with society that says you're not going to be comfortable. I will never allow you to be comfortable. When somebody says, I'm not going to allow you to be comfortable, what that means is, I'm not going to allow you to be comfortable around me, which states the fact that they're already uncomfortable. You know, I was just talking to a friend of mine. We were on this shoot. We got a new video coming for Down Ballot voting, everybody, called the Down Ballot Ballot. It's going to be pretty funny. It's pretty dope. But we were talking about the phenomenon now of people who you've known for plenty of years, they've been your friend, all of a sudden they're not your friends. All of a sudden they don't call you back. All of a sudden they came into money. All of a sudden they came into prestige. It could be a plethora of reasons, but you don't fit in that space anymore. And what we talked about was the fact that more and more and more and more and more people are rewriting narratives and they're writing out other people. They're rewriting narratives and they're leaving out crucial aspects of who they are. Rather than deal with who they are, what they're doing is creating a narrative for a new group of friends. And in the religious community, that's happening more and more because people don't want to be established or connected with a community of religious people in some regards. We don't be connected to a community that has this whole idea about morality or correct morality. We don't want to be involved in that anymore. And so what you have now is this growing generation that says, not only do I not respect that history, I'm going to create a whole new narrative from here going forth. And that's the one that's going to count. That's the one I want people to see. It's almost like I'm going to make sure that you don't get out and explain to people what the world was between you and I. But I need these people to see this right now. And so as we hear on Mobile Mondays, I mean, it is something that is troubling because it's not being talked about enough. Like, if you watch the president, I'm going to give him credit on this. He's changed the narrative so many times that we don't even say it's a lie. We don't even know. It's almost like in Islam, there's something that's probable and then there's something that has certainty. His credibility doesn't allow for either one of them. But that's president. But I'm going to give him credit. He did it in plain sight. He did it in plain sight. The issue is, as a community, we didn't stop him. We didn't check him. And once you don't check them, then they become an even bigger monster. They become an even bigger bully. That's right, Sister Ravina. Yeah. And Donald Trump, the guy couldn't crush a grape with a sledgehammer. Okay? But he's come off as hard to people who, I won't say they weren't hard, but they just didn't have heart. And so what I want to focus on as I close my last things is let's replace the hardness in our heart, if you will, with compassion and mercy. State it very, very clearly. There is a hard heart problem. And that hard heart has led to people developing new narratives that has nothing to do with the truth. In fact, the new narratives have more so to do with denying the truth, denying who these people were, denying where I came from, denying that I had these problems. It's an instrument of denial, for lack of a better word. And I think that we, as viewers, as contributors, like everybody here on the show, I consider you a creative. I do. I consider all of you creative. I believe that everyone here has the capacity to do amazing things, create amazing art, do amazing counseling, Be great mothers, be great fathers, be great artists, be great speakers, be incredible brothers and sisters. I put that on you because that is the context of the Shout Out Show. So when I talk about a Mo Better Monday, I might be talking about 3 or 4 different ideas, but it's this whole idea. It's not Mo Better, it's better more. So it's not Mo Better, it's better more. It's a dyslexic turn, if you will. And you know what? Monday has little to nothing to do with it. I'm not a big time person, but sometimes I put that out there so people can attach to, oh yeah, it is Monday. But in my close, and I will be closing. Let's figure out a way to get people comfortable with themselves to the point that they don't feel like they have to change this narrative, the narrative of their lives. You know, when I was in elementary school, and I had a really good friend, and he's a black kid. We both black. He was doing busing and everything. White kids kind of liked him, but they didn't really like me. I mean, I'm over it now. I deal with it every day, just like many of you. But I remember a traumatic situation from when I was a child, when I was with a guy named Terrence Brown, who was really, 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 really like, red bone. I mean, if you look at Terrence, you didn't know, you would think he's white. So we were kids. We were Terrence and this other individual, and these kids came around, and these kids impressed upon this individual that hanging out with us was problematic. And Terrence was always pro-black. He black. He was extra black because people thought he was white. So Terrence got a pass in a manner of speaking. But I watched this kid who looked like me tell a story of, I'm black, but not like him. He said, my black is a happy black. His black is a mean, sad black. And as I sat and watched this kid start laying out this narrative about blackness, it hurt me because I'm like, we can't be friends anymore. And we weren't friends for the rest of elementary school, junior high school. Like if he would have called me up right now, I probably wouldn't answer the call. That's how deep it is. But my point is, it starts at that level, that early. And now we've had a whole culture that builds this foolishness on Instagram and Facebook and all these social media things. What's the deal with having social media if you don't have social skills? That's what my mom said. If you don't know how to act in person, why are you going to get on the internet? Because that just allows people to create narratives and all these different weird ideas. These I can't remember the name of it. Like you build your own character, whatever it is. Avatar. So we're in an avatar society. People build avatars. So I'm going to talk about that, the advancement of avatar society, if you will. But I'm going to leave on the point that I said. Let's get to a point where people don't have to come up with these new narratives for their relationships, or new narratives in a situation, scenario they don't have to explain themselves, or new narratives where they feel as they can rewrite value. They can rewrite value. Think about that. So listen, that's my show. It's a little low key today, but I really enjoyed the topic about, of course, it's a Mo Better Mondays, but I like to say better, more Mondays. Better, more Mondays. And what I mean by that, as I close, is the fact that we have to value every day and every opportunity that we get and get out of this foolishness of thinking that if I don't like this situation, I don't like that scenario, that I can rewrite it. You cannot rewrite it. All right, brothers and sisters, have an amazing Monday. I'll see you tomorrow on Tuesday. God bless. Love yourselves. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Preacher Moss. Shout out, show.
Hey everybody, this is your brother Preacher Moss. Listen, I hope that you enjoyed your Shout Out Show experience. We'll be back with the next show, the next Shout Out Show. A simple ask before you go, please help your brother out. Click that subscribe button, click that notify button, and I'll see you again on this side of the microphone. You probably wonder what that smell is. That's me. I smell good. And the reason I smell good is because I use oils from ShOUT. So I'm not saying you can't smell good. I'm not even saying you stink. I'm saying you have the opportunity to smell exquisite. Check out ShOUT.com for some of the best oils and scents in town.